Good evening to everyone. I call the March 4th, 2019 meeting to order. Just a quick change on the agenda that Tom noticed. Date and time says February 4th, but obviously we are happy to be turning the calendar to March, even though it still feels like February. Other than that, not aware of any changes to the agenda that we have in front of us.
That change on the approval of the agenda.
A second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Next item is communications. Is there anybody that would like to address the council? Please do so now. All right, seeing no one, we will vote.
You got one, Jim?
Oh, yeah.
I like to do one here for, just want to take a couple minutes tonight. I'm here representing St. Paul's Lutheran Church here in Mount Vernon. And what we're just looking for ways that we can better serve the community. And we've got a few different ideas, kind of like Matthew 25 in Cedar Rapids, where they help people with minor home repairs, things like that. Possibly a service where we could drive people to doctor's appointments or something like that. Or just other ways that we could better serve the community. And so just asking for you to, at your convenience, think a little bit about it. Through our Thrivent members, we've got some additional money available and stuff, and so just keep us in mind, and we're happy to help out and be involved in the community as best we can. So I've just got kind of those things on a piece of paper. It's all right.
Yep. So I spoke with Mr. Wolf, was that late last week, right? We spoke on the phone, and as he mentioned, he's looking for some opportunities for he and his church, so I mentioned that maybe just stop by our meeting tonight. I know, obviously, a lot of the, I'm sorry, well, he's not, Mr. Wolf is not available, so Josh, so that's my fault. So I know a lot of you guys are involved in, obviously, other stuff outside of council, so if there's any ideas, which you don't need to share those right now, but if there's any ideas that you do have, obviously we can work with St. Paul's Lutheran Church to share some ideas and some opportunities as they come available. Because I mentioned, Southeast Lynn and Meals on Wheels and stuff like that, and then I had mentioned once the rec center is built, there'll be numerous opportunities for volunteer as well. So those are just a few off the top of my head, but obviously I know there's a lot more out there, so if you guys have any ideas, then share those and we can get those in the right hands. So obviously this is a nice challenge that we have in terms of finding opportunities in the community. This is both Mount Vernon and Lisbon as well.
Yep. So appreciate any ideas.
Yep.
Thank you.
Thank
For
you.
the offer.
Yep.
All right. Is there anybody else? Yes, sir.
Do I have to let you know who I am again?
Yes, every time.
Same name, same place as last one. Right, document coming from 822 10th Avenue Southwest. Correct me if I'm wrong, we have an ordinance in this town about needing sidewalks. Would someone please enforce it? I walk my dog every day and I've fallen 3 times. I mean, there's places where this is what, 2 weeks, a week better, week and a half, you still can't even walk on the sidewalks. So I don't know what we have to do, if I have to go up and turn my dog loose, have to poop in the yard or what, I don't know, but we need to do something.
Yeah, unfortunately, we don't have somebody that, walks the town taking down house numbers, but please feel free to call Chris and his team in terms of letting us know if there's an address or if there's a house in terms of where they're not keeping up with the snow and ice. Is it 48 hours, Chris, or how long?
It's 48. That would be the process, though, because we don't. We operate on a complaint basis, so when we receive a complaint, we'll go out and have the police department talk to the homeowner and issue citations if they need to.
Well, right there might be a volunteer project if someone is unable due to health issues or something like that. Maybe we can pair up a volunteer to do it for people that are unable to.
But I hold your thought.
And I don't think it's for people that's unable to.
Yes.
Well, that's why I added the caveat, that
Yeah.
if people are, then we should talk to them.
But I'm right
If
there
they're
with you.
not, we should maybe find a way to help.
All right, thank you.
Because we have enough people that walk and run in the streets as it is, we don't need to add to that number. Is there anybody else? All right. We'll move on to Joe Horaney, Solid Waste. Forward, sir.
Good evening, everyone.
You
I'm the Communications Director for the Solid Waste Agency, here to give our annual update on services and programs. To give you the brief history of the agency, we formed back in 1994 when the City of Cedar Rapids and Lynn County combined under a 2080 agreement. We have a 9-member board of directors. We have 6 officials from the City of Cedar Rapids, 2 Lynn County supervisors, including Brent Olson, who's our board chair this year, and then 1 appointee from the City of Marion. We operate 2 locations. We do not receive taxpayer dollars. Garbage pays for all of our services and programs. And I'll get to the big news. No fee changes coming up for fiscal year 20. So our garbage disposal rate is going to remain $40 per ton. Residential disposal rates will also remain the same. If you come in a pickup truck or a full-size van, it's a $20 flat fee. If you come in a car, SUV, or minivan, it's a $10 flat fee. And so I like to remind folks, if you only have like 1 or 2 extra bags of garbage, get the extra garbage sticker, do it curbside, because if you come out in a pickup truck and you have 1 bag of garbage, it's $20. If you come out with the pickup truck completely loaded and tied down, it's still $20. So make sure you're getting your value worth if you're going to get that flat fee. And then our yard waste is also going to remain the same, no changes there, $24 per ton with a $5 minimum, and that's at the MountVernonCityCouncilMarch4 location. See, appliances, you're going to stay the same, $9 per appliance. Scrap metal, there's no charge for scrap metal. We don't pay for scrap metal, however, so if you ever doing a house demolition, you got a lot of old copper piping and there's value to it, take it to Marion Iron or another scrap dealer. We mostly get like old lawnmowers, things like that. And the tires are going to remain the same, $3 per tire up to 8. If you have more than 8, it's 15 cents per pound. The only change with that is effective July 1st. We are only going to take those materials out at the County Home Road location. As of right now, we still take them down at Mount Trashmore. Those are the only items we take down there, and we don't see a lot of them coming in, so the hauling costs don't make sense anymore. So effective July 1st, take them out to County Home Road with everything else. And the only price changes that we do have coming up in FY20 are TVs and monitors. Right now, we charge either 10 or 15 based on the screen size. Effective July 1st, we're going to just do a $15 flat fee for TVs and monitors. All other electronics, no charge, so old VCR, stereos, things like that, no charge. But for TVs, in FY18, we spent $68,000 paying to have these recycled. And the big cost to us is we still get a ton of console TVs coming in. I know it's hard to believe, but they come in every single day. And we get charged by weight. So somebody drops off a console TV to us, we charge them $15. When we take it to Midwest Electronic, they weigh it, so it's costing us anywhere from $35 to $50 per unit. So to offset that cost, we're just going to go to that flat fee. Again, that's effective July 1st. And then again, all other electronics, no charge. Recycling, that's going to stay the same too for the commercial haulers that bring in recycling to us. I know I've been a broken record probably the last 3 or 4 years, and I've been in here saying recycling markets are struggling. They continue to struggle. That hasn't changed. I included a commodity report this year from last calendar year. You can see for half the year last year, mixed paper had absolutely zero value. It's actually back down to zero value again so far this year. There's still a market for cardboard. There's markets for plastics 1s and 2s and aluminum and tin. Everything else, it's a big struggle. But with our contract with Republic runs for next year, so we're locking in the rate that we have. And then going forward, we'll see. But yeah, recycling is still struggling, but per our agreement with Republic, they can't throw it away. So if you go down to their facility on Ingleside Drive, you'll just see a huge stockpile of material. Recyclers all over. They're holding on to stuff, hoping to see if markets bounce back besides the material that is moving. So we're keeping an eye on that. But a big push that you will see from us coming up in marketing later this year is you're going to hear empty, clean, and dry. For the people who are recycling, you want to make sure that your recycling counts. And 2 big issues when it comes to recycling. There's the people who don't care and they just use it as an extra garbage can. You see that. And then there's the people, aspirational recyclers, who want to recycle everything. You can't recycle everything. And so they have the plastic bags, they have their styrofoam, they look at it, like, yeah, it has a recycling symbol on it. They throw it in their blue bin. You can't do that. So when they do that, it comes in there, it contaminates the whole load, and then it gets thrown out. So if you're making the effort to recycle, we want to just say, keep it empty, keep it clean, keep it dry, make your recycling count. So you'll be hearing that from us throughout the year. Moving on, our hazardous material recycling program, this still will remain no charge to Lynn County residents. So any household hazardous material from a Lynn County resident, you can drop that off for no charge anytime we're open, Monday through Saturday, 7 to 4:30. And if the material is still good, our guys check every container. It gets placed in the free paint room that's right next door to it. And again, that's open whenever we're open. And you can take what you want in there, no limits. And then education and outreach, we have Earth Day coming up in April, America Recycles Day in November, and in between we have a licensed teacher on staff. He works with everybody from preschool kids up to college students to do programs at Cornell. He's available to give tours, things like that, so if you know anyone looking for some curriculum ideas or you want a cool tour, give us a call. And then moving down to Mount Trashmore, the Trails and Overlook opened this past September. We had that as kind of our soft opening. We're garbage people, and now we're kind of in the pseudo park business because it's not a park. People ask all the time, why can't I get in there whenever it's open? Well, because it's a closed landfill. We have 47 gas collection wells throughout there. There always has to be somebody from our staff on site when it is open. But this year we're going to work to have it open more often so people can get out there and enjoy it. There's 2 walking trails going to the top. We have a flow trail going down. Incredible views. I included some pictures there. So when this winter ends, I'm thinking probably June, July. Hope you guys can get out there and take them. We're going to have a sneak preview at EcoFest, which is April 20th this year. We'll have bus rides going up. You can't walk up there when it's open. It's just for walkers and bikers. But we'll have bus rides then, and hopefully we'll get that open in late April, early May. And as for our compost facility, that's still open. That's right down there adjacent to the old Mount Trashmore. And every year I tell you our compost is great. We give it away 1 ton free. So how do you make free better? We are taking away limits for 1 month. We're going to have Earth Month this year instead of just Earth Day. So from April 22nd to May 22nd, we're going to give away compost, no limits, to Lynn County residents and businesses, no charge. So if you have a big project coming up, some new construction, you want to replace your topsoil with some nutrient-rich compost, rent a dump truck, come in, we'll load you up, no charge.
Awesome.
Yeah, and that's landscapers are going to find out about this. They'll probably get a stockpile, but we're opening it up to everybody. So for 1 month, while supplies last, come and get as much compost as you want. And then after that, we'll go back to the normal 1 ton free every time you visit for Lynn County residents. But 22nd and May 22nd. And then also for our communities, we have a big stockpile of fill material. We call it fill dirt, but it's actually more like fill clay. And so if you have any big city projects that are in need of any fill material, that's going to be available too. You have to arrange that with our operations manager. Give her a call. You provide the vehicle, come up with the dump truck. We'll load you up that day. And so if you need something, you get the clay, and then come down and get the compost. You'll be all set. And again, there's no limit on that while supplies last. And then lastly, because City of Mount Vernon, being a member of the Solid Waste Agency, and you do offer curbside recycling, you will receive your recycling incentive for FY20 coming up. And for FY20, it will be $7,225, and that's for the city to use as you see fit in support of your recycling programs. Like I said, recycling markets are struggling. I don't know if that will be the same case next year, if we'll still have these incentives, but we'll let you know. But for now, you're definitely getting that. The check will be cut on July 1st. So just want to say thank you for being a member. Anything that you can do for us, as many of you know, our executive director lives about 2 blocks that way, so you can just knock on her door and let her know, but we'll try and do it for you if we can.
Any question? Yeah. Can you tell me more about why the recycling markets are struggling? I mean, isn't everybody trying to use recycled materials?
No.
I just need to understand.
The biggest factor is a couple of years ago, China put up what they call the green wall. So for years, all recycling went to China. And ever since people have switched to we have single stream recycling, where you can put everything into your container curbside, all mixed together. It used to be you had to separate the paper, the plastic. That's more, you get cleaner material when you do that, but it's easier to do single stream. You just see a lot more participation when you do it. So like I said, people don't always they put things there that can be recycled. Didn't matter, all that got put together and shipped off to China, and it was coming over there, and it would just be hugely contaminated. But they had the people, they would sort through and pick it out. Well, now they generate enough of their own material. They said, we will no longer be the world's dumping ground. We're cutting everyone off. And they set strict limits, like you have to have less than 1% contamination for them to accept it. Here in Lynn County, where we have pretty good recycling, our contamination is right around 9 or 10% every day. So we don't even qualify for it. So they cut off the world. And so that's, most of the markets went there. So, but cardboard, like we have the biggest cardboard recycler at International Paper right here in Lynn County. Industrial like cardboard, there's markets domestically in the United States for plastic 1s and 2s. Everything else, not so much. So that's why that material is like, I know in Seattle, they landfill more mixed paper recycling each day than we take in as garbage here, just because of the volume of it. They just can't move it. It sits there and it turns to sludge. So that's the big issue. So there's no end market for it because China has cut everyone off, and then the material that is there, it gets contaminated. So that's the big factor. So we want to have clean material coming into us because eventually they will find something for it. And the cost to it, everyone's always thought, oh, recycling's free. No. In the past, for Lynn County, the agency has always paid for it. I remember a couple of years ago when our prices went up 85%, and so we came to communities like, we'll pay for slightly more than half, and we asked the communities to pick up the rest, which everyone in Lynn County did because we want to see that material being used. And in the current way we do it, it's still cheaper for people to recycle than it is to throw it away. But next year when our contract's up with Republic, if it jacks up, they jack it up again, I might have to come back to you, and that's gonna be the tough decision, be like, hey, it only costs $40 to throw this away, and now we have to pay $100 a ton to process recycling, is it worth it? That'll be that possibility exists. It's not there now, but.
So what efforts are in place to educate the public so that it makes it easier? I get what you're saying about that single stream and being able to throw it all in one container. It certainly makes it easier to do it. But if we educated people more about the value of separating it and spending an extra 2 minutes.
From what I've talked.
What are we doing to encourage that?
This has been a topic at every solid waste conference that goes, and we go to a couple of a year, especially statewide. And talking with people who run the recycling facilities, they're never going backwards. Like Scott County actually, for years, was what they call dual stream. They had a huge bin, half plastic, half paper, and they just recently switched over to single stream, where they gave everyone even bigger bins. And I talked to the person, they've seen their contamination rates double, so they're at like 19–20%. They've seen the amount of material coming in increase 60%. So for them, it makes sense. They can offset the contamination because they're getting more usable material that they can then take and turn around. But it goes back. We push to try to educate people about it, but that's why we're really going to promote that empty, clean, and dry. Because if you're making the effort to recycle, you want it to count, and that's how you do it. So it's just understanding, recycling's not free. If you want to make it count, really go after these things. Tom, we're going to ask them too.
Yeah, I was going to ask. I was thinking a year into curbside pickup of compost. Do you ever see that coming to Lynn County?
Well, like organic curbside collection.
I think that's
Yeah. So Cedar Rapids does it, and so they have their yardy containers, and then Marion picks up yard waste, but they don't take as much as Cedar Rapids does. Because Cedar Rapids has the big cart, so you can put your food waste inside there. We can't do. I live in Marion. We can't do that curbside with food waste. They just take the organic yard waste material. So if you want to do that, there are services that can do it privately. I mean, that can be a big expense for a city. If you're adding that separate truck to get that.
If you saw that as coming as an expected city service, just like garbage pickup. And 30 years ago, recycling pickup was unthought of. That was part of that. That was a civic obligation almost to do that. I just wondered how close we are, or if we are, close at all to having the obligation to take up organic waste.
We're not on the collection, and we're just on the receiving end. I get emails every day from Cedar Rapids residents upset that somebody missed their collection after we're not part of the city. We're the drop-off. We don't actually do that. So but it will be. I think it'll be community driven. If there's enough push in a certain community, that it'll end up coming in front of you.
Anybody else have any questions? Joe, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Thanks.
You also have to keep in mind our waste contract will be up next year, so then, all this is going to fall into that conversation. Whether we stay with our current or look to change. And the recycling is extremely scary, where we're going to be next year. It's very unfortunate. All right, we'll move on to the consent agenda, approval of council minutes from our February 20th meeting, and approval of liquor license for Horaney Golf Club.
Move approval of the consent agenda.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Next item, public hearing to consider the City of Mount Vernon fiscal year 2019-2020 proposed budget. I will open the public hearing. Is there anybody that would like to address the council on this item? All right, seeing no one, I will close the public hearing and proceed to G1, Resolution 34-2019A, approving the City of Mount Vernon fiscal year 2019-2020 proposed budget. Chris, anything?
Other than I will note the color change next year. Now, like I said, the levy rate is scheduled to stay at $12.99 again this year. Between now and July 1, there will be an ordinance put in front of you for the water and sewer for the continuation of at least 3% for the next 5 years. So beyond that, that's the only expectation, other than individual fees at the pool and things of that nature have been looked at as part of this budget, may come back to you as potential increases if they haven't changed for a few years. So the pool is the one that comes to mind right off the bat. That other than that, we have been able to kind of hold the line. As I stated in the PowerPoint, the amounts are gonna fluctuate so much between last year, this year, and next fiscal year, simply because we're bringing in money for large projects, not spending it until the next fiscal year, so you're gonna see a lot of ups and downs in the overall budget dollars, but we've been staying fairly consistent as far as expenses go.
Anybody have any questions, comments for Chris? I think we talked about this at the last meeting, but I know having that presentation has been awesome in terms of being able to see everything in a very easy, readable format. And nice to be able to refer back to that over the course of the year.
Maybe one comment, it's not about the content of the budget per se, but probably all the line customers got the most recent update that they're thinking of the Iowa Utility Board, and as a residential increase for 24.5%, that got my attention. I mean, even the municipal lighting, 10% is a huge increase. And I know municipal lighting is such a small part of your budget, I know, but does the League of Cities lobby IUB on getting a over one increased costs? I mean, all you read about is how the line, getting this wind energy and this solar energy operation and so on, which is that cost down, but they're using the infrastructure buildup that they have to do to get those as a reason to raise prices 24, 10, 18, 25, 17%, and so on. And you know, it's called what it is. Lions are kind of a monopoly when it comes to the utilities here. And does the IUB ever curtail? Do our lobbying efforts work in this direction? So that's my rant about that.
In short, no. The Iowa Utilities Board is a semi-standalone entity appointed, I believe, by the governor. So, as a matter of fact, they lobby pretty well, I believe. Solar is potentially taking a hit with the latest.
I'll bet the line gets what they want, or very close to that. Before it's even had any hearings of it, but again. But you've got enough protection in the budget for the 10% of lighting.
Yeah, we do. It's just,
Frustrating.
wish there were other ways to,
Raises are raised 24%. Salaries or?
You gotta do those wind turbines and everything. I mean, if you want green energy, you have to pay for green
Well, that's what
energy.
you were just talking about.
But
The initial investment is.
Yeah, it's huge. And if you're gonna shut down Dwayne Arnold, that's even worse. So
Yeah.
it's a bad deal.
Anybody else have anything? Budget related? Yes, sir, please come forward.
I'm Jeff Martin, I live on 111 Third Avenue North, west on the sledding hill. And glad that the city has ample budgetary reserves for the increase in electricity, but yeah, I disagree with the wording that Mount Vernon has. Because as a resident of Mount Vernon, I don't, and I doubt if many other people do. So that's what I say.
Thank you. With that said, I'll entertain a motion for this resolution.
I move to approve Resolution 3-4-2019A to approve the City of Mount Vernon fiscal year 2019-2020 proposed budget.
second.
You have that, sir? Any comments? No comments, roll call, please, Steve.
Harmon,
Yes.
Rodebush,
Yes.
Rose,
Yes.
West,
Yes.
Weesler.
Yes.
All right, next item, public hearing to consider ordering construction of certain public improvements, approving preliminary plans, and fixing the date for improvements known as the wastewater treatment plant improvements 2019. I will now open the public hearing. Anybody that would like to address the council on this item? All right, seeing no one. We'll move on to resolution 3-4-2019B, or ordering construction of certain public improvements, approving preliminary plans, and fixing a date for improvements of the wastewater treatment plant improvements 2019. Chris? Anything?
Yes, the ordinance that you have, I just want to point out, B&K will likely be creating an addendum that will move the bid day from March 14th, I believe, to March 27th. It will stay the same in this resolution. There is one date in this resolution that will be changed, and that is the March 18th, 2019 date that you would be reviewing the bids will be switched to April 1st. Based upon the feedback that B&K is receiving, they like their contractors that would like more time to take a look at the bid documents. It doesn't really put us behind any further, so they've recommended that we give them the time period. Right now, engineers' cost, construction cost is about 1.3 million. Grand total of the project is about 1.7, and engineering fees, so on and so forth. So, kind of right in where we had projected, maybe slightly more. Again, this is mandated by the state, Army permit, so there's really not much we can do about this. So, this or the second phase that will be 6 or 7 years.
Anybody have any questions, comments for Chris on this item? Entertain a motion, and do we need to highlight the change to the April 1st
You
date?
can say what changes.
Yeah, I'll move approval of resolution 3-4-2019B, ordering the construction of certain public improvements, otherwise improvements known as the wastewater treatment plant improvements for 2019, with the date changes Chris mentioned.
I'll second.
Any comments? No comments, roll call please, Steve?
Rotabush,
Yes.
West,
Yes.
Leesler,
Yes.
Herman. Yes. Rhodes.
Yes.
All right, next item, public hearing to consider a request to rezone property located at 207th Street Southeast from general commercial to traditional residential. I'll now open that public hearing on this item. Anybody that would like to address the council? Name and address, please, sir.
Tyler Plate, 207th Street Southeast, I'm the homeowner. We purchased the home last November, and we found out that it was zoned commercial during the appraisal. It wasn't disclosed, and it was a surprise to the seller as much as it was to us. And we also found out that because it's zoned commercial and being used as residential, that we could not get traditional financing. So we had to get temporary financing. We still bought the home, and I guess at this point we're just requesting it to be rezoned so that the zoning will actually match what the property is being used for, and so we can get permanent financing. We actually have residential homes straight across the street to the north and to the west, and we border the Catholic Church on the east side.
Yeah, I think you have the support of planning and zoning as well as the
Yeah.
council, so.
And we notified all the surrounding neighbors, so everybody kind of knows.
Now, is this, are you being held up now, right now, until this is?
No, we actually went ahead and got the temporary financing and purchased it, but we're hoping if it does pass and be rezoned, that we'll go and get permanent financing.
Okay, so that might be something for you guys to consider in terms of maybe,
Pushing it on.
Yeah.
get to the third and final reading, so obviously that's your guys' call, so. Anybody else have any questions? Thank you very much,
Yeah, thank you.
appreciate that. I will now close the public hearing, we will proceed to ordinance 3-4-2019A, amending the comprehensive plan and official zoning map to rezone certain property from general commercial to traditional residential. Chris, anything you want to add to this?
No, it's pretty cut and dry.
Yeah.
It's just a lot of times when you're going through the planning process, you make marks on a map and it doesn't always translate to what's existing, so.
So then I'll leave it up to council to highly recommend Obviously, it's something we usually don't do, but I think in this case it may be warranted.
So, yeah, what are we on?
3-4-2019A.
All right, I would move approval of ordinance 3-4-2019A.
I would second.
Well, don't we have to do?
Yeah,
We have to vote.
We have to do it first, and then we can flip to 2 and 3, yeah.
I'll second.
Any comments? No comments, roll call please, Sue.
Rose,
Yes.
Weisler,
Yes.
West,
Yes.
Herman. Yes. Rodbush.
Yes.
And to James' point, it's not something we use often, but in some cases it makes sense. So I would move approval, or I would move that we move to the second and third, wait, no, we move to the third and final
We'll
reading.
waive the second and move to the third and final reading.
Clearly, I didn't know either. Waive the second and move to the third and final reading of the ordinance we just passed. 3-4-2019A.
Second what he said.
Thank you.
Any comments? No comments, roll call please, Sue.
West,
Yes.
Herman. Yes. Rose,
Yes.
Rodbush,
Yes.
Weisler.
Yes.
Yeah, I think that just makes sense, so.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks for coming.
Okay. So, make sure,
Back to F1.
what's that?
Back to F1.
Yep. How can I miss that one? All right, everybody. Take a break and take a little nap. Ordinance 2-20-219A, providing that general property tax is levied and collected each year on certain property located within the Spring Meadow Heights urban renewal area in the city of Mount Vernon, county of Lynn, state of Iowa, by and for the benefit of the state of Iowa, city of Mount Vernon, county of Lynn, Mount Vernon Community School District, and other taxing districts, be paid to a special fund for payment of principal and interest loans, monies advanced to and indebtedness, including bonds issued or be issued incurred by the city in connection with the Spring Meadow Heights urban renewal area. Phase 1 parcel. Chris?
We have no communication on this ordinance. I would recommend approval of the second reading.
Anybody have any questions or comments on this item? Otherwise, entertain a motion.
I'll move to approve ordinance 2-20-2019A.
I'll send it.
Any comments? No comments, roll call, please, Sue.
Weisler,
Yes.
Rose,
Yes.
Rodbush,
Yes.
West,
Yes.
Herman. Yes.
All right. Now we will move on to motions for approval, consideration of claims list. Anybody have any questions, comments on that claims list?
Is the top item on the Reliant fire apparatus all told, the total on the pumper? I know we gave a $600,000 budget, so I was just gonna say that I'm pleased that they were judicious in using, choosing the options that they could while not pushing the budget to the hill.
Yeah, I think they did do a kind of a thorough examination of the options that they needed.
And it was overwhelming.
Yeah, beyond that, it will drain that account, so I think they're cognizant of the fact the quicker that money starts coming back in and the less that they spend, they have other purchases obviously that they're looking at, so.
That was my only question or comment.
All right, with that, I'll entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve the claims list.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Next item, discussion and consideration of job description and salary range for City of Mount Vernon Recreation Coordinator. Chris?
So this was a planned hire, although we originally talked about the job title being the Assistant Parks and Rec Director, to come on board to help with the Community Wellness Center. Matt has changed that to the Recreation Coordinator, more to the fact that this person will not be able to hire fire employees. They will have the ability to recommend discipline, but they won't necessarily be able to hire and fire. That will be reserved to Matt and myself. Obviously, this will be the, in all purposes, it will be an assistant to Matt. We want to hire this position July 1 in order to catch kids that are graduating. Now is the time to get this out to the colleges. However, with that being said, there's been a number of people that have stepped forward and talked about the position in general, so I think there's going to be a lot of interest in this position in general. Salary range is 32 to 42 with the expected hiring somewhere below 40. And this will be a non-exempt, so Matt will have to work with their scheduling so that there's not a rush of overtime for this individual as well. But comfortable with this moving forward. As like I said, it's been talked about for a year since we talked about the community wellness center. So our plan right now, this is the only other full-time hire. We are talking about 2 to 3 what we consider permanent part-time, maybe 25 to 30 hour a week employees that would be, you know, in a role that wouldn't necessarily supervise, but could help out at the facility. So, but we want to definitely get this one started in July. The expectation that we will start selling memberships within 4 months of the open date.
So the pay range is not, it does not consider benefits, et cetera? That's
No,
just
this
straight
is just
pay?
pay.
It would be nice to see it in those totals.
Depending on what comes in, normally I would say this is kind of an entry-level position for a college student. And if that were the case, the additional benefits are somewhere typically in the $6,000 to $8,000 range. If it's a family, it's closer to 12 to 15. So you can tack on either one of those two depending on what gets hired.
So worst case, we're looking at, I mean, if it's the high end, 42 plus a family.
Correct.
Looking at
This, I would tell you,
50,
is expected to come out of the revenue generated from the facility. So Matt's salary does not.
Right.
This job is,
That's the idea.
yes, expected to come out as that part of the
Yep.
business.
So I assume this individual will reside or office at the Road Center?
For the most part, yes. The goal being having 2 full-time individuals to trade off weekend duties so that no one individual gets burnt out with the amount of work that's going to take on top of rec programs plus this facility. So there'll be a new host of rec programs that will be available to us now that the facility is in place. And again, trying to split the week or every 2-week period so that they get some time home alone.
Matthew, anything you want to add to this?
No, I mean, nothing specific. Any questions specifically?
Anybody have any questions for Matt or Chris for this? I assume this is kind of the norm in terms of modeling other communities, in terms of having a role like this.
Yeah, everyone's a little bit different. We feel good about when we present what we're expecting to charge, what we're going to recommend to the council to charge, that we are in line with a facility similar to like Waukon, who has kind of a similar model. Both of their employees, they're full-time employees, so the director and their part-time they split 50% of their wages out. We're not gonna go back and split 50% of Matt's wages out because at the end of the day,
Right.
it's either 100% of this or 50% of both, so.
Coming out of the same bucket. For
Yeah.
Yeah, Waukon has a full-time partner rec director and full-time community center director. So,
What's their model for what they charge?
For
Their community.
membership fees?
Mhm.
Oh. Significantly lower than what we are charging. About the same as what we are charging, Waukon is. But there's other community centers that are extremely lower than we are, but they're also operating in the red.
I think they're per families, but to give you some idea, we're going to recommend, I believe, 680.
Somewhere in that ballpark, 680 for an annual family. So you consider that on a monthly basis, it's, 50 cents.
And then it'll tier down, obviously. We'll have couples, we'll have senior couples, we'll have seniors, singles. I mean, there'll be a list of recommended prices when you get them all. But Piasta has a full-time director and a part-time, she has a part-time employee as well, or a few part-time employees. They charge about $450, I believe, for a family, but they also operate about $100,000 in the hole every year. So if you just look at their memberships that they get, if they were to get another $100 on top of each membership, they wouldn't be operating in the hole. They also have an event center where they own the liquor rights to the facility, so they don't necessarily not own the liquor rights, but they're allowed to create a dram shop, and so that revenue comes back to them, so they're not as concerned. They also got most of that building donated to them, and kind of the condition of the donation was
I remember that as we were beginning, well, not beginning, as I stepped in 15 years into this process, about 5 years ago. As we would tour facilities, all the different scenarios where so-and-so gave the land, and then so-and-so gave this, and then the CAT grant was this, and so now, in a lot of those, when all of those stipulations were factored in, they were operating significantly under it. It was amazing to me how, and a bunch of communities just were like, well, we were spending $200,000 or $300,000 on Parks and Rec anyway, so we just toss that into the budget. Well,
Yeah.
So, for example, Macokota, the YMCA was built there. They got rid of the Park and Rec department and just funneled that money into the operations of the building. I can give you an example, like Elite Fitness here in town, they're $60 for a family. Obviously, it's not apples to apples, our building's a little different, but I think we have more to offer for a family, in my opinion, in this building. So I think our membership rates are right on par. A couple other facilities, that's Williamsburg, similar situation, there are three gymnasiums, but that facility was donated. So they're actually considered raising their prices right now, and they're really making the whole town irate in regards to that.
Well, and that's the
other
other
operational losses.
to factor in is it's far more difficult to raise things once you already
That's
set
the
it
key
right.
for us. It's always where we start.
Yeah.
So our goal is not to start so high that nobody buys a membership. At the same time, we don't want to start too low that increasing on an annual basis looks like we're increasing by 20 and 30% versus maybe 2 or 3%.
And we don't want Tom going another
Yeah, we don't want Tom
right
to-
when
don't
we
want the
increase by
line.
24.5%.
Right.
24% increase.
I do want to go back to the actual description itself here, and excuse me if this is already something that's considered as a public employee, but because of the close relationship of this particular position with the youth in our community, is there some other stipulation as far as like a background check or anything else that's required?
Yeah, so our police
for this?
department helps out with the background. Yes, they would have to.
Okay. I just didn't know if that needed to be explicitly stated in here.
No, as all employees will have to follow that. Anybody that's going to work at that facility, because the current plan is if you're, I believe,
Yes,
12 years old,
Yeah.
will be able to go there by themselves.
Yes.
The
So,
world in which we live in.
yeah.
That's a good point, no doubt.
It's also right next and
Right
next
the
to school grounds, so
Yeah.
the contractors actually had to go through that process as well.
Good question. All right, anybody else have anything? Is he going to be a veteran?
We've talked about it. So Park and Rec Board last month, sorry.
No, as I said, nothing has been decided.
Oh, that's fine.
Definitive.
That's something that should be
Worthy
thrown
of
out there.
consideration.
Park and Rec Board discussed it last month and didn't come to any conclusions per se, but they liked the structure that was put in place. They want a little bit more information, and so they can come back and make a decision for this month. So I assume at some point, the first meeting of April, probably I'll come to you, share with you the membership rates that have been approved by Park and Rec Board, recommended by them, and bring it in front of you and let you all make a decision at that point.
Good.
And if you want to see them beforehand, just let me know and I can share them with you.
Here's the second short, Eric. That is a decision completely up to you.
Yeah.
we're gonna recommend, we're gonna have a flurry of information coming at you, recommended first through staff to Parks and Rec Board, and then to the council, and ultimately, everything will be established by the city council.
One thing to keep in mind is that other facilities do that we've decided not to do is they charge an activation fee or initiation fee for something to start with membership. We decided not to do that. We kind of built it into the actual membership itself. What that is basically either a front end or a back end cancellation fee, really is what it is. YMCA does it, some of the other local, or some of the other facilities we visited do that. They charge an initiation fee or an activation fee. And it's just really just an administrative fee added on for either some work to be done front end or back end cancellation.
Yeah.
So,
Good.
I think that was a good call to make it a coordinator level position, because that does allow that position to move, you know, upward mobility in the
Yeah.
future, if
Yeah.
possible, depending on what ends up happening.
yeah, we talked about that where the position is right now, it doesn't have a lot of, I mean, it has some supervisory duties, but it doesn't have a lot of administrative duties. So we just felt it'd be more appropriate for a coordinator, and then obviously to work themselves up to possibly an assistant director of Parks and Recreation if that need should arise. If, you know, we feel that's the way it should go. We'll come back to you all with that recommendation too. But right now, I think it's where it should be.
I will say, given the minimum experience required and education, I think that salary is very generous. Possibly too generous.
Well, I can tell you,
I
just,
mean, we
well, I
want to
agree.
have good people, but we
Yeah.
also need to
Sure.
get our overall.
I can tell you that the 3 or 4 people that have inquired about the position are qualified. Just from hearing that we're opening this facility.
Mhm.
So I don't think it's gonna be an issue to get a quality person for this position.
That's not my question.
Okay.
My question is, are we paying more than what we need to be?
That's-
Given,
The difficult part, to answer your question,
I think we can find quality
well,
qualified people.
so this question goes back and forth with, in human resources all the time. So you can put too much education requirements in there, and then you eliminate good people. And so what we originally talked about having a bachelor's degree required, 1 year experience. That would be more in line to the 32 to 42. We went back to the associates, not because we don't want the bachelor's degree, but we didn't want to eliminate any individual that didn't have necessarily had a degree,
When
but
we've got
had
the range in there.
7 to 8 years worth of experience. So if they come to us with 7 or 8 years worth of experience, they qualify for that wage, but we didn't eliminate them because we required a bachelor's degree. And I've seen a lot, especially in government work, whenever you have that in your job description and you don't follow through. So I've actually seen, in one instance, a fire chief get demoted after having the job for 5 years because the community came forward and said, you didn't have your bachelor's degree and you never ended up getting it. So they had to go back the other direction. So
I'm sorry to interrupt you. Sorry, let me go ahead and finish your thought.
no, I was just gonna say, so if we don't get individuals where we think we're going to get them, then we would come back and reevaluate the salary range. If that makes sense.
Here's partly where I'm coming from, is we just looked at an overall view of all salaries up from the city. And we've got someone at a director level position who's been here for 7 years, that in theory isn't very much higher than what this person could be starting at. So
So I would, to answer your question, because I know you're talking about, I don't know that that's necessarily the city's issue per se. Because if you remember, we relinquished our rights back to a separate board in that instance. And I would argue that he is paid too low.
Right.
So I wouldn't,
Okay.
I wouldn't, I
I'm
guess,
just
make
saying-
two wrongs out of something.
Right.
And I think.
No, and I'm just saying, something there needs to be addressed, I think.
I think it's important that we keep our blinders on in this case and focus on this role. Because if you do some job mapping, I think 32 to 42 is quite correct, especially if you break it down by an hourly wage, and we're talking $15 an hour.
Right,
you know, so I
that's
think
true, that's true.
so I think,
Yeah,
I agree wholheartedly with what you're saying, but I think we gotta focus
I
on
think that's
this
where I was
role.
coming from, I was having a hard time with the perspective,
Yeah.
and so, but you're right.
You're talking $15 plus benefits,
Right.
which are very
These are
good
very
benefits.
good.
Oh, yeah.
That's-
So
that's-
let's not keep that in there too.
So,
But to all of this, though, if we, any HR professional will tell you that it costs a ton more to replace somebody than it does to keep.
Yeah.
And so if we can, I'm perfectly comfortable paying somebody who is good at what they do and keeps a bunch of stuff off of your plate and makes that
Yes.
place run smoothly and does, and wants to stay and become a member of the community, and we don't have a revolving 18-month door.
but I also just wanna also make sure that we bring somebody in and we can keep them. And
Right.
we don't have to be in a situation later saying, hey, we have to cut because we have to cut
Right.
expenses.
Yeah.
So we just need to be prudent about that.
No pressure, Matthew.
Yeah.
I have felt it from day one.
But, I mean, I don't disagree with any part about the role, and there's a need for the role,
Yeah.
and the title, and all of that.
Oh, good, good
There's gonna be a
conversation.
lot of eyes, a lot of attention watching that first year of operation, and whether it's the salary, or whether it's how much income the facility produces, or what the steps are on the scale, so, and I don't think we can wait till the end of that first year. I mean, we need to look at it as it progresses, just to get a handle on it, but there will definitely be a lot of focus on operationally, is it at break even? And what is the public sentiment about the rates that we do get out there in the first cut?
Yeah.
So, good luck with wisdom on that one.
Thank you. Well, I
Well,
mean, I presented,
you've got
Yeah.
great experience.
I presented at the Lions Club last week, and there was no major objections other than the senior rate, because they were all seniors.
Yeah, the young family rate, they didn't really care about all that.
They all wanted the senior rate to be lower, because they were seniors, and I understand that, absolutely.
Yeah. There's gonna be a lot of opportunities to learn and grow.
Yeah,
especially
and
the
it'll
first-
be our job to
first
share what
year.
the value of that membership is, so, you know, and I'm just gonna say it right here, just so you know, you've got a walking track, you've got a rock wall, you've got a turf room, you've got basketball courts, you've got reduced rates for rentals, you've got, walking track, I already said walking track. You've got all those things encompass, plus the fitness area and some classes that'll be included in that membership, so they encompass all of that, wrap it into a membership. It's a great value, and not only for a family, but for individuals as well, so that's what we've gotta do, is sell it that way.
Yep.
To share with them, this is the value you're gonna get, it's 24/7 access, you know, you've got showers, locker rooms, all this. That's the value we've gotta sell and share with them, that it's worth it. And, you know, $2 a day for your family to come and use this facility.
Yeah.
That's my job.
Yep.
All right, good
Thanks,
conversation though,
thank
I think it's, yeah.
Okay, thank you.
So we'll call that said, I'll entertain a motion.
I would move approval of the creation of the recreation coordinator position with the job description as included.
A second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Next item, discussion and consideration of front end loader lease/purchase. Chris?
So, we've had the loader for 2 months now, just about,
Almost enough.
1 month. It's exceeded expectations, to say the very least. We have tried out different loaders, smaller loaders. We probably call them kind of glorified skid loaders at this point. Solon operates a smaller loader, and it doesn't have much more horsepower than what our current skid loader does. So we tried to start looking at potential ways to move this into the fleet without creating havoc in the budget. So we've looked at this basically rent purchase option with the goal to potentially rent through this fiscal year. Obviously, we don't have it in the budget. We've got other equipment that we want to buy. We would put off purchasing equipment in fiscal year 21 to purchase this piece of equipment. And we would be getting rid of the backhoe. So net effect is on our equipment that we're not gaining any a number of units. We're getting rid of a backhoe that isn't conducive to use at the cemetery. We don't have enough water main breaks to make, it kind of overwhelm the fact that we can't use it at the cemetery. We already have a mini hole for the cemetery, so what we talked about doing is buying a slightly larger mini hole to replace the smaller version that we have, and then getting the loader to more or less replace the backhoe. The backhoe is not conducive to use for the future composting that we will have with the leaves. Just doesn't have a large enough bucket size for what we want to do with it out there. So what you have in front of you is, if we were to lease this at a very low rate for the first 18 months. Right now, we're only looking to lease it for another couple months? Two months. Because we do want to check out John Deere, and we want to check out, we'll look at cat. Cat's typically quite a bit more expensive than what we're planning to do here. They're all state bids, so we don't have to necessarily worry about that, but we want to make sure that we're moving forward with the right piece of equipment. The lease, RTL equipment has been nice enough to reduce that lease amount so that we can basically inherit that into the road use tax without feeling the pinch through fiscal year 20. So with that, Nick is here to answer any questions on the equipment. I can answer any questions on this purchase option.
If we were just to buy it, if we were just to write a check, what would it be? Is that 126?
Total acquisition is about 138.
Okay.
The piece of equipment itself is around 126,000, and then we would get a bigger bucket. There's a few other options I think that we wanted.
Yeah, this current machine comes with the state quick attach that they spec'd out. So this was spec'd out for the state of Iowa, and the state of Iowa used it for about 91 hours when we received it. So, and I think since we've had it, we've already put over 40 hours on it. Just, it's become a huge part of what we've done this winter with how bad winter's been. And it comes, the extra bucket and the quick attach was kind of what is about a $13,000 option that the state requires, so.
Again, not trying to add equipment to our fleet, just trying to better utilize the equipment that was purchased. And this is how Nick and I have operated. We don't purchase anything unless they can bring a demo unit here and the guys can make sure that it's exactly what it is they want to use. We do have some equipment purchases that I think were, I don't call them easier, but they were done faster and probably not thought through. So the goal being, again, to probably get rid of a piece of equipment that's been sitting outside that doesn't get utilized like it should, and prep for the new property, the composting, and a few other things that we're doing. If you haven't noticed, the loader, just in the downtown alone, getting snow out of here, does it in half the time. It takes two buckets to fill a dump truck.
Like 2.5 buckets, and our single axle dump trucks are full, so. And this is just the standard bucket that comes on it, so there is actual 4-yard bucket that we can purchase for snow removal that would allow it to possibly be 1 bucket and remove it, so. It's cut our snow removal time in the downtown probably in half. I don't wanna like go full, like say that completely in half, but it's been noticeable, very noticeable.
And especially with our parking pinch, it's nice to free up those spaces that get.
Yeah.
Well, and we're still coming in the next morning, it just allows us to, hopefully.
It's a heavier machine, gives us more flexibility. It's not the largest loader that's out there, obviously, but it's not the smallest unit either.
And I've researched with multiple communities similar size to WIT, Macokota, Monticello, Centerpoint, Solon. Most of those communities have a machine that's either equivalent to this size or actually a couple sizes bigger. So there's only 1 or 2 communities that have a smaller unit or
just a backhoe unit that they're using still just the backhoe, so.
What kind of attachments can you put on this?
Forks, so pretty much, I mean,
Augers, stuff?
any attachment that, we could get a huge snow blower that
Huge stuff.
some
You might need
communities,
that.
some communities that have bigger downtown area will just push all the snow in the middle and just snow blow it into a dump truck.
Yeah.
I don't think we're to that point yet. So.
Be awesome.
It would be
Cool, yeah, I'd sell tickets to that.
Yeah.
So, but the forklift, or the forks that we put on it would allow us to bring up those barriers that we use for all the festivals a little bit easier. The current machine we use doesn't really, I mean, it works, but it doesn't like those blocks as much as, this won't even notice the blocks.
And I think, you know, kind of a testament to the changeover at Public Works and where we've evolved to, this is more kind of a testament to where you've asked us to go, and as a staff, we've asked our staff to go. So we're more project oriented, we're doing more things than I think in the last 3 years than were done previously. So we've waited, obviously, to truly evaluate all of our equipment needs, and we've started making some changes. We've gotten rid of a couple diesel trucks that were non-conducive. We got rid of some blades that were non-conducive to what we were doing. This is just kind of rounding out where we're going.
You know, I do have big expectations of that.
I'm aware.
Yeah, as do we. The mayor and I were just talking about that, obviously, before we came down. The expectations with the LEAF program, the potential for composting. You know, it's going to be a push, obviously, to get everything ready to go this fall, but what better time of year would it be?
We'll have a
Given
very,
the savings to purchase versus lease, what's our advantage other than the trial period? But we're getting the trial period anyway, right?
yeah, the trial period is more so that allows us to get it in the budget for 2021. And this also will allow us to try out, we've tried 2 machines, and this machine outperformed the other machine we've tried thus far. And we're gonna have a John Deere come on site after March 11th. So this trial period allows us to keep something on hand while we're also demoing some other equipment. So.
The advantage is the equipment that we would normally be purchasing with this fiscal year would probably be put on hold to buy this. The nice part about having the bigger equipment is the companies that sell them are a little bit more apt to do the rent purchase option. We do pay a little bit more, obviously, because we're paying interest for almost 18 months on this unit, but
It allows you to find out how you're really gonna use it. what
yes,
it's gonna be.
and to a certain extent, if we, you know, if at the end of this 18-month period, we find that we're wrong, we haven't spent, you know, $100-some thousand on a mistake. We've leased a piece of equipment that we've utilized for 1,000 hours, which I think is what our lease agreement would be, up to 1,000 hours. So
I think it's worth that.
is it
Yeah.
allows us to be sure, 100% sure, and we have a jet back, some things that we really do, I think, need to get purchased in fiscal year 20, and I think it's worth, like I said, ending up spending a little bit more for this, paying for it in fiscal year 21, and being absolutely sure. This is a 15 to 20 year piece of equipment, so we want to make sure we get this one right.
Yep. We have a road to build.
Yeah, if it changes.
For that leaf program.
So I assume you just look for a motion for the RPO, Chris?
So yeah, to move forward at least with the next 2 months, and then if anything changes, we would notify the council. But right now, we're kind of moving forward with this potential option. Pay it off in fiscal year 20.
Anybody else have any questions, comments? Otherwise, entertain a motion. Thank you, Nick.
Thank you.
Thanks, Nick. All right, I move to make the RPO agreement of the front end loader as discussed.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Next item, discussion consideration of the Plaza Lift Station pump replacement.
And I don't have the information for you, so I just ask you to table this one until the next meeting.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. All right, in terms of reports, one thing I have, I will be gone the week of March 18th, that is spring break week, so Tom has graciously agreed to lead the meeting for the 18th. I do believe it'll be a smaller agenda, so
How many, that brings up how many won't be here?
that was
Because
my next question.
I will miss my second one in 62 months.
So,
Are you looking at me?
Well, look at everybody.
The question is, which is weirder, that you've only missed 2, or that you still count in months as opposed to years?
Well, I've been here a long time.
Well, that's, my point.
If the other 4 are going to be here,
I'll be available.
it will be,
yeah,
So everybody else will be
What are we
here.
doing, the 18th, is that what we're talking about?
yeah.
Yeah, I'll be here.
Good. So we know.
it's, so it's not, it's usually a fairly light meeting after the budget, so.
All right,
Yeah.
I will be out the following week, but I will be attending the National Main Street Conference with Joe Jennison and a few other community members.
Good.
And I'm very excited about that. Joe's actually presenting at that event.
that'll
And
be
we hope to
entertaining.
come back with lots of really great ideas. It's always inspiring.
Anybody else have anything under council or committee reports? Chris, city administrator report?
Just, anybody last minute wants to go to Des Moines on Friday for the Main Street Awards. I've been in Des Moines the last 2 weekends, so I probably will not.
I'm going, Stephanie. I'm not because I'm moving the next day. Otherwise, I would go.
Good, good.
Yeah, you'll have to figure
It should be a great time.
Yeah, I'm very excited. We're gonna, city's going to get an award, and Joe's obviously very excited about the work that's been done, and it's just been a great, to me, it's been a great 3 years all the way around for downtown CDG, the city. The only other thing that I had there is the notice from the DOT that I put in your packet, just letting you know that there will be construction on Highway 30. So, more or less all the way from 218 to the Cedar County line. So, I didn't give you any more detail than that, but I would expect construction delays occurring on the existing Highway 30 in preparation for the negotiation for us to take it out.
I do have a question in terms of potholes. How soon can we address some of those around town?
We have put some full patch in areas, especially the worst of the worst. It needs to be.
You're not trying to leave right now.
It needs to be a few degrees warmer to really, even for full patch, to really kind of take. But we're more or less throwing the cereal in there, just trying to hope it sticks.
The few days that we went out, it was melting, and anytime water is involved with any of the holes in town, and the coal patch will not stay, and it's not worth our time and effort to try to put, the streets are melting off and water's in the area, and it just doesn't, it's not conducive to that coal patch to stick and stay in that hole. So we're very aware of the potholes and trying. We do have a trailer that Eldon built last fall that feeds the stuff. So we have that ability. We've been out a couple times with it. We just have not been as diligent as we would like to due to weather conditions.
Asphalt plants not typically up until about March. End March. Well, it surely doesn't feel like my daughter had her soccer meeting for high school this year tonight, and
We're going when it's
I'm looking around going, I'm
0
not playing
degrees.
soccer in a month, but
Yeah.
Anybody else have anything? Kenny, is there anything that you want to, I noticed that you brought some of your,
They're fulfilling requirements for rank advancements, and you're it.
All right. Future mayors and council members back there, I'm hoping.
Community volunteers.
Yes, yes.
We already are volunteers.
All right, with no further business, this meeting stands adjourned.
God, it hurts to stand up.
We might be